button. Okay, I guess I'll speak first, but I'm sorry. Welcome, everyone, to the Eurovision Fam takeover of Alicia Michelle's YouTube channel, part 2, plus the Eurovision Fam, just general streaming, discussing the results of Benidorm Fest. We just watched the second semifinal, and the second semifinal choices were made. But we'll get into those choices later. I going to just start off. I am Lili Love Stuff from Eurovision Fam. I'm joined here by other members of the team. We have Augusto with us once again.
Hola, buenas noches. Good evening, Eurovision Fam. Live from the Dominican Republic, and choices were made, correct.
And we also are joined by Brooke from our Eurovision Fam team as well. You want to say hello?
Hi, everybody.
All right. So, yeah, choices were made. How should we begin this? Do you want to go in like running order? Do you want to go in like who didn't? Let's start with who didn't qualify.
Yes, let's start with those.
So let's go ahead and just kick it off. The second person to perform was Henry. What did you think of his performance?
I can go first. Yeah, Henry reminded me of Germany 2022 with better vocals, better camera angles, and better execution. So yeah, there's that. It was good.
My first thought too, I was like, oh, they took this from the homeboy that represented Germany a couple of years ago, huh? I think it was better camera angles for sure. They did more interesting stuff with the camera. I think it also helped there were other people on stage with him. Yes. I don't know who the guy with the mustache was, but he was very cute. So he stood out in my mind as I was watching that performance. What do you think, Brooke?
For me, he had a pretty voice. He had some good emotional control. The staging was a mess. And it was like IKEA showroom, but we knocked everything slightly askew. And honestly, he was really good to the camera, but he moved too much for as good as he was to the camera. He could have been a little more still and let the dancers do more. And honestly, that might have helped his vocal over a couple little pitchier patches. So I kind of had one of those, like, well, if he goes through, they've got to do a lot with this staging to make it a standout. So I feel like I wasn't surprised that we didn't hear his name at all at the end.
Yeah, I wasn't shocked either. I was like, this wasn't going to qualify. I think that, number one, it's Spain. I feel like Spain doesn't really like a ballad as much as other countries do. They want to be a little more upbeat, and you have to really be able to shine through to make a ballad come to life and qualify in Spain. This was fine. I don't really have many thoughts about the song. It was just very much, this is here. This is what's happening. I think that's why the thing I remember the most is the fact that the stage was very similar to the German staging from a couple of years ago. And I thought the guy with the mustache was cute. Like, that's basically what was imprinted in my mind. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. I just saw a comment. Sorry. From Ella Elodie. Henry, he wasn't that good. He shouldn't have shown his pics. With longer natural hair color, he was cuter, and the song was too May. Okay, well.
I mean, it's true. The song could have been better, but the staging was cute. It was very well executed, and the vocals were there.
Yeah. Just trying to see. Anyone else have any thoughts about what's happening?
I'm looking up for my notes.
Yeah, I'm looking. It's just, it seems like a lot of people are just kind of like not feeling that one. Next up, we had Teresa, who did not make it through. Unfortunately, I know there was a lot of hype for her going into tonight. What do you think of her performance, Brooke?
I feel like we got the right result overall with that. Like, I understand why that's a crowd pleaser, I get, but just vocally, she was messy. The staging
Yes.
choices, there were some, honestly, just there was a few times tonight where there was some kind of costume reveal that made absolutely no sense. Like, you have the same skirt on underneath. Like,
Yeah.
why just wear the short one? Like, we don't need to rip away clothes to show the exact same thing. Like, this is making no sense to me. Um, yeah, it was just messy. It could have been like there was so many thoughts happening, and I don't know, I think they all kind of took away from each other, but it was fun. Like, I still enjoyed it. It was still up to my top. Um, but yeah, I think it is kind of better left behind at this point.
I would agree with that. I think there was some stuff in there that just felt messy, but not deliberate. Like, if it's a deliberate chaotic, okay, cool. It just felt like there's a lot of ideas that weren't executed up to snuff. What did you think about De Teresa, Augusto?
So I agree with the vocals. The vocals were a little shaky throughout the entire
Yeah.
performance. The vocals were not there, unfortunately. There is, since she's from Madrid, she stated in her intro video, she's from Madrid. So the entire concept was making an homage, but in a campy way of Madrid and Spanish culture.
Okay.
So it was very Spanish culture, but camp and on steroids. The execution needed a lot of work, especially the vocal. The
Yeah.
styling, to me, it made sense. I didn't hate it since she's very alternative and different. Like, the styling made sense. The styling of the dancers also made a lot of sense. But I get when people say that this is a lot of things way together at the same time that do not make any sense. So
I don't know. I feel like the styling could have been. I liked her hair. Her hair was nice. I was enjoying the hair. I like the colors of the outfit, but the outfit looks kind of cheap. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it just looks like it was very fashion student year one. Um, so that was kind of the issue I had. I'm like, this looks very amateur. You could have that same outfit or that same concept of an outfit and have it executed better. And I think that my feelings about, oh, this is messy but not deliberately messy would have gone away. It's like Finca. I'm gonna bring up I'm gonna bring up the beer. Look at this. Like Finca. Her performances are very messy, but they feel deliberately messy. Like, oh, I'm being like a chaotic gremlin on purpose. This felt more like just, oh, I'm supposed to stand here. I have this idea for what I want to wear. I have this idea for how I want to be styled. I have this idea for the staging. And like the nails on top of the gloves. Oh, I like that the nails are very colorful, but then the outfits the dancers had on didn't suit that. And like it just felt chaotic in that way. And again, the voice just, she wasn't hitting the notes like she should have been. Like, if this was executed better vocally, I'd be okay with the qualifying. But when I went back and watched it, and then as I was watching it, and then I went back and watched the recap, I was like, I'm okay with letting this one go. Whereas prior to the show, I would have been defending it a little harder. So yeah.
Okay, I'm checking the comments, and there's one comment that, look, Malaysia, I'm on your boat, and we're coming to the song shortly.
I'm sorry. We'll talk about that one in a moment. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're coming up to that one soon. We'll get to it when we get to it. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. Okay, we have this one from Witold. I don't mind De Teresa staging. The vocals, though, yeah, they weren't getting there for me. And was there a ball with a thong? Okay, I'm confused. I don't remember that.
One of the dancers, when they were together dancing, one pulled a thong out of the other.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's in the middle. It's in the middle of the performance before she hops on the ball onto the ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's memorable.
Before.
My stream for some reason had the quality of a potato, it was like some Moldova quality streaming. So I don't know. I must have missed that. Or I may have been making a note. Who knows? But I wish I would have seen that because at least that would have been something interesting. Yeah. So there we go. Did anyone have anything else they wanted to say about that performance?
I'm good.
Okay. Next up of the non-qualifiers was Carla. I think that's her name, right? Yes.
Carla Frigo, yes.
I don't remember this at all.
Okay, so
I don't remember seeing what happened. I don't remember the song.
To me, I do not know why Daniela got through, but this didn't. Because to me, in my opinion, the entire concept was made a lot more sense than Daniela's. Carla's staging was very Britney, early 2000s, J-Lo, mid 2000s coded. Like
Okay.
the security box, and then locking the men inside of that, and the bodies and the skimpy bodysuit, all very red and glittery. She was serving her vocals were, I was able to hear her vocals much better than Daniela's on Tuesday. But let me highlight this comment here.
You just click on it and it'll pull up.
Modama, Daniela equals Carla. That is correct. But to me, Carla's execution and concept were better than Daniela's. Carla, today, I was able to listen to her singing. At least she was singing terribly. Unlike Daniela, that the backing track overpowered her. But with Carla, she was like, you could hear the breathing sometimes, but I like this idea from Larry. We can mesh the two into one project. They could be a great duo. The girlies, the Tate McRae and the Sabrina Carpenter, and giving us.
Oh my gosh. Sabrina Carpenter with British makeup. Because that's all I thought when I was like, I don't remember this British child being like a performer in this show. Because when we got to like, giving out points, I'm like, I don't remember this. I memory hold it completely. What do you think about it, Brooke?
It was one of the ones where I felt like it had the same weird costume reveal where as soon as the lights went up, they were ripping something off of her to reveal the red sparklies. And I was like, well, what's the point? We didn't even get to see what you weren't wearing, because you started with that and then straight into the Grope Fest with like the hands coming out of the glory holes, like to literally grab each one of her tits. And I was like, this is the wrong audience, ma'am. Like, I don't know who told you that this choreo was right for Benidorm Fest, but nobody's here to watch you get felt up. Like, this is maybe there's some other countries where that could play better, but I just don't see this really advancing a vote for you. So I thought there was some misunderstanding of the audience, but I did think her breath control was bad. Like she was breathy, but not in a way that served the vocal. Like there's sometimes a really breathy vocal can help. And sometimes like she was breathy, even in the stops where she would stop and kind of let playback carry some of the backing vocals. And she wasn't even trying to like sing along with like a run or something. She was just like, playback's got that. I'm still going to come in like I'm out of breath. And so those were the 2 points where I was just like, you've got a concept. It's not great. And I don't know. I was hopeful for her. I was just like, you look super cute and this is going to be adorable. And then I was like, okay, what are you doing? Like almost immediately, she lost me so quick. So I don't know. She needs to focus group and come back. She needs to talk to some folks and then come back with something better in the future. She may have taken inspiration from Ollie. I do think that I think it's hard for some folks to straddle that line and like to understand like there's suggestive and there's kind of just you can play some things up and then there's just like, wait, that's not what we're here for. And I don't know. I think they both went into like not really what we're here for territory. I think the
Someone is
bigger thing for me is the quality tonight was better than semi. Like the semis weren't well stacked as far
no.
as there was more that could have. All 8 from tonight probably could have advanced over like any 4 from, like, if these were spread out, this could have been the final to me. So that's kind of where I'm like, yeah, we were definitely going to have some negative comparisons to people who went through from semi 1.
Okay, you want to? Okay, before we pivot to the last non-qualifier, let me start with this comment. Malaysia says, "I'm sorry to repeat myself, but I haven't seen anyone fumble the bag as hard as Spain with Celine La Casa. No joke. I could have seen a top 3 at Eurovision." Let me kick off with this one because I'm hurt.
I
I'm
think we're
hurt.
all hurt. We're hurt.
We're hurt.
I mean,
Um,
that was my favorite song of the night. I just feel like she didn't perform it with enough energy to really sell it. You know what I mean?
that part. Celine, baby girl, I love you. The face card was there and the vocals were there. Very shaky at the beginning, but as the song progressed, it was pretty much like her studio cut without
Mm-hmm.
the autotune, but it was like the studio cut. The vocals were there, the face card was there, the outfit was there. The energy, though, girl,
Yes.
girl, the energy. This is salsa.
Yes.
Give me some saoko, mami, saoko. We need spice. We need fire. The staging was there. It was cute. It was elegant and
It
classy,
was
just
the
like her.
energy. It was the energy that like was really lacking, and it's like I wanted more power from her because again, you're giving us a salsa song. I need to have more oomph to it. You know? What do you think, Brooke?
Yep. No, I have it as like classy and camp. Like to me, that was
Mm-hmm.
threading a perfect needle. I was like, this is what I want to see. So this was one of my top 4 that didn't go through. So like, yeah, this is,
Yeah.
I think, the disappointment of the night for most people, especially for her not to come, top 4 on either end, like even on one side, because I thought she sounded great. Like I have 2 that had little hearts by them in my notes, and this is one of them because I don't know, I thought she had a beautiful vocal. Everything just kind of hit right, but the energy, I think you're right. That's where if there was something missing, there's just that little bit of disconnect. Um, but I kind of hoped that we could get past that and give her a chance to like shake off the nerves from night 1 and really kill it at the final. So yeah, so it's hard to like. I think I clearly would have gone through on semi 1, and
I
so
mean,
that's heartbreaking too.
again, with this comment here, you could tell Celine. I'll go back to that one. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, you could tell Celine's first song of performance, and yet despite that, I wouldn't have been against her going through. I get that, nerves are gonna happen, but wasn't Solo like Chanel's first single?
Yes, that is correct.
Like, you can still show up and like really knock out of the park. So I guess that was a bit disappointing there. And if you want, I think this. Oops, sorry.
But here's one thing. Chanel, when she came over, she had over 10 years experience of musicals. She did a
Okay.
bunch of musicals in Spain. So this was her first single as a leading performer. Leading performer. But like
Yeah.
singing and dancing, she had like 10 years experience. She was even a backing singer for Your Sounds Freeze Familiar for a couple seasons. Celine,
Okay.
though, as she stated in her intro video, this is her first song and performance overall because Alfred discovered her playing the piano while she was managing her grandpa, who was an extra on Alfred's performance 2 years ago. The band that appeared at the beginning, that's
Yeah.
Celine's grandpa.
Oh, that's cute. I
Okay,
mean,
guys,
So
I didn't turn on my subtitles until halfway through the show, so I missed all of that story. But I remembered seeing the clip from 2 years ago and being like, I don't know what that's about. But that,
now,
like, okay, so the sky's the limit for her then. Like, she could definitely come back with a little bit more live experience under her belt and just wipe the floor with everyone because I think we were all really impressed with
yeah.
her. And so, like, let's just hope that, like, we can put that energy out into the universe for her of like, don't give up, girly. Come back to
Yeah.
us. A little bit of seasoning, and we're just gonna eat it up. So I'm really encouraged to know that that was like that.
Come
Okay.
on.
Celine reminded me of Switzerland's Time Bell back in 2007. Once I saw the yellow dress, I immediately thought Time Bell. Okay. What I call my claims to fame before I started talking about Eurovision on the internet is I called Time Bell not qualifying. The second I heard the song, I was like, oh, this won't qualify. The other song I called not qualifying that year was Verona, and that was a spicy take. Both of those were spicy takes for a lot of people, I feel like.
I
But
was in
no,
the same boat with Verona. I still hate it. People make me hate the song. I cannot stand it. It's obnoxious.
but
Jesus.
like when it comes to yellow, I love yellow. Yellow is one of my favorite colors. I have a
Oh,
bunch of
and
yellow stuff
Celine
near
looks
me right
good in
now.
yellow. That
She
yellow
looks
dress,
good in yellow.
baby girl,
Yellow's a hard
like, ooh, supermodel.
yellow's a hard color to pull off. Like I have my yellow my glasses case is yellow.
I mean, Miss
I'm
Celine,
not gonna pick up
girl,
anything else I have.
the experience that you need for another Eurovision attempt, fly to Latin America, get some budget, get some hang out time with some Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Venezuelans. Mommy, come to the backyard. You're invited to the Sancocho. Mommy, come over. We can spice you up a little bit, and you got a hit. Because the song is a hit.
Yeah,
Down
the song.
here, it's a hit.
Yeah, so I agree. I really like the song. I just wish she would have had more energy, and we would have gotten that energy in the performance.
God, I'm
Um,
sad. I'm sad that my song did not pull through, but let's move on.
let's go ahead and move on. Do you want to just start with Melody because we all called this one qualifying before tonight even happened?
Okay, I'm going to say something that's going to get me canceled, but I don't care. I'm going to read and shade somebody tonight.
Go ahead and do it because I want to do it
Okay,
too.
Spain, you choose this. I'm going to hold a napkin in between when I say this. Welcome to the last spot in the final. Welcome to the bottom again. You're making the same mistake of Melody's first attempt in 2009. She is going to Eurovision, if she wins, with a Scandinavian reject. She's a formidable performer. If anybody could outsell Chanel, it's this woman. I've been singing El Baile del Corriga since I'm like 7 years old. Baby girl, you're better than a Swedish reject. Better than this. And the staging is cliche after cliche after cliche after cliche. This is not going to work at Eurovision at all. This is not a signed, seal, deliver package. This will flop. This is going to flop. Even with a technical mishap, the woman's vocals were phenomenal. Ain't nobody gonna beat this woman when it comes to vocals and stage presence. She's beating a lot of people. But goddamn, this is not the problem. Now that I've seen staging, it's everything. This is not gonna work. I understand that Spanish fans owe it to her from 2009, but in 2009 she sounded Spanish. In 2025 she sounds dated, and it's exploiting every single cliche imaginable. This is not good. I'm so sorry, but she's better than this.
Um.
Move forward.
Anyways, that was a passionate delivery, and I agree with the statement because I was like, what is this? Like the song, number one, it feels like I'm listening to a song that was competing at Festival in 2012. You know, it's not anything special to me. I thought the staging had some ideas in it, but it just felt like we're doing this because it's a Eurovision thing to do. We're doing this because it's a Eurovision thing to do. It was just like a lot of stuff happening. I feel like the bridge was a letdown. Like you could have done more, make that bridge more of a moment, more of a dance break. She sounded great. She looked good. I kept my eyes on her the whole time. But at the same time, I just felt like meh, like it just felt very by numbers as a performance.
No, and I think that's totally it. Like she sounded so good, that was undeniable. So like that had her in my top half just on that. But I'm not gonna put the song on a playlist. Like it's not something that I'm going to want to go back to. So that's kind of the piece of, does she deserve to go to the final? Absolutely. Do I hope she wins? Not at all. But, you know, it's kind of hard when we aren't necessarily getting the strongest vocals out of everyone to, like, you know, be too picky on the merits of the song sometimes. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, I prefer bad vocals over bad songwriting. Like, there's no issue at all I have with Melody. She was fine. She did everything she needed to do. My issues are with basically everything else other than her, if that makes sense. Like,
I
if it
think
was
you're
a Melody,
right.
yeah, like, I would send her through no matter, like, send her through. But my issues are, I feel like the song's a letdown, the staging's a letdown. She deserves better than what she got or what she came with, if that makes sense.
That's fair. I would just say for me, it's the piece of, for so many people, it's just the 3 minutes. It's all they're going to take in. They're not going to analyze the song that hard. And it's going to be, oh, I was entertained and that voice was good. And so that does, you know, you cover up a lot with that. And so those of us who are, you know, sitting on the internet talking about it after the show, we're going to dig into those pieces. But I think it's that, what does this do for a first time listener who's just seeing live?
Yeah, so we have a black bean paste here. I love the camera work on Melody, especially the last moment when it rotated. However, Chanel has set the bar too high for dance stuff, so let's just send Lick a Spoon or La Chispa. We'll talk about who Spain should send later, but I think that's a good point. Like, we are all thinking of Chanel when we get a dancey song now, I think. So everyone needs to be a little careful, you know, when it comes to sending something.
Okay, let's.
Oh my gosh, sorry about that. All right.
Should we pivot to someone else?
Yeah, let's pivot to somebody else. Who do you want to bring up?
Should we do Mel?
Yeah, we can do Mel. Mel Ömana. Yeah, who wants to start off with Mel?
I'll start off because she was my number one tonight. Like, my notes are just like a page full of hearts around her. I adored everything. Her little flowy, like her cape, like the costume reveal was good. That was the good costume reveal. Her vocals were great. She does that little squeak that is so endearing to me that, like, I want to hear somebody pulling that off well, and it doesn't crack and it doesn't go bad. But then she'd also pull off this great little growl on the same vocal phrase, and that's not easy. And it sounds so good when you can do that. So, like, just her, it was a perfect opener. It hit everything I wanted, and just vocally, I don't know, I loved it, and I don't care what else happens. I'm glad I get to see her again for the final.
I would agree 100%. I like how, like, on the oh my gosh, what are they called? The verses. It's like that really high cutesy voice she's almost doing, and then we switch it up to go with, like, okay, now we're gonna give it vocal for the choruses, and you're getting that more power behind it. The squeak, adorable, 100%. Love that. Favorite moment of the night was that little squeak. The staging was good. The choreo was good. Everything about this was what I wanted. I don't like this song in studio. I'm not gonna lie. When I was listening to the songs back to back in studio, I was like, I am not feeling this. I'm not feeling most of these songs in studio. But I think that live it elevated, and I'm like, oh, sure, win for the final. Let's go.
I think it's my turn to comment. I've been highlighting our audience's comments. Keep commenting, people. We're loving it. I agree with both of your takes. Personally, I wouldn't have qualified it on song base only. However, vocals there. I did find the show off at the end a little unnecessary because I don't think this type of song needs those type of moments. But choreo there, staging simple but effective. Some camera shots were a little off, but it was good. The outfits were cute, but her vocals, my God, that woman. She did not miss a note. Not one. No. Everything was cute. Everything sounded pristine. I'm like, damn girl. If originally for some of us, we believe that Celine was a dark horse, Miss Mel Ömana from the Canary Islands just snatched her and took her place. Because that was really good.
That was so good.
That was really
That was so
good.
Like, absolutely love that one. Yeah, I feel like we all agree on that. Let's go ahead and talk about, I guess we'll go on to Mawot. Is that how you pronounce that?
I mean, I guess. Mawot, I think it is.
I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. He sounded good. The staging was kind of giving me alien cult leader, which
I have that on my notes.
I don't dislike. I don't connect with the song very well, if that makes sense. Like, I like the chord progression on this, but it feels like I've heard this song before, and I can't place where. But like that, it has that very familiar chord progression. Okay, so somebody said they only remember it. I'm sorry. 1 second. There was another comment I need to highlight. Dang.
Yeah.
He's the last airbender. Okay, Spain. I guess Spain. So Spain's an airbending nation, I guess.
We can say that.
Sorry.
We can say
what do you
that.
think?
I don't connect with the song. I think it's the weakest song of the bunch. Of the 16, is the weakest one to me. However, the man can sing.
Yeah.
That man can sing. Because he did not miss a note. There was no bum notes or anything. The Italian was cute. I agree with Felix. This is very correct. The vocal delivery put him over the edge of most people. Because a lot of people, especially the ones that didn't qualify, the vocals were not there. So this man, at his big age, with a very simple staging, got very galaxy coded performance, he did that. No bum notes. So let's say that. So I wish him the best. He's doing it for his kid. It's very cute. I was like, you know what? Congratulations to you, man. You did that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Aang can sing. He's an airbender, so singing requires a lot of air and breath control. See, we're catching it up. Big brain time. I think this is the second stream in a row we've referenced a cartoon. Only the first time it happened, Augusto didn't know he was referencing a cartoon. Anyways, what did you think about Mawot, Brooke?
I loved his reaction to being top 4 in the jury, where he was not expecting that.
It was like, what?
So like, what? And then we're just like, get away from that table. The camera's on you. We know how this story goes. But I actually really did enjoy his performance. Just the piece of like, I liked the staging. He had a concept where it's like, there were other ones that were just kind of messy. And I was like, did you put much thought into this at all? Like, he had something. He had the weird, like, space druid costuming. So, like, I have to give some points for that. But I enjoyed the vocal. I enjoyed the song, listening to it. Like, it made an impactful 3 minutes. And so, like, when we were getting those scores, I was kind of curious if, with that fourth were we going to find the Teresa so low on the jury score and him high enough on the public score? And that's kind of the way I thought it would go, was I could see people reacting to like the immediacy of his staging, or even to the piece of like having that thought of like, I can throw him a vote, like it's not going to go through. And so that piece of, I kind of could see that happening more than I could her necessarily killing with the jury and being, that fourth place. I almost wondered if we were going to get Celine or like somebody who came in fifth with both jury and the public to scooch through and grab that fourth slot, because I could see there being a gulf between that. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing it again on Saturday. So I'm kind of happy it turned out that way. But yeah, I thought he had a really great vocal, and I want to pay more attention to the staging this time because I was just like, oh, this is fun. And now I'm like, well, was he trying to say something? And I'm just missing it because I'm just focused on the blue strip around his forehead and, waiting for him
Loki's
to enter
face.
the avatar state.
There we go. Maybe he will enter the Avatar state in the final.
And I don't know how you vote against that. Like, that's
I guess
straight
we
to
have to,
ESC.
go pro Avatar. Okay, and the last qualifier we'll talk about, I guess, is Cabello. Or Cabello. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce things.
Sota Cabello.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
I can start. This was too dark for my liking, but once I saw the whole thing, the whole staging was inspired on being on a nightclub, hanging out, learning
Okay.
with people.
I wrote a note which is, the Chuck E. Cheese blacklight face paint was kind of cool. So I guess Chuck E. Cheese is like a nightclub for kids, so that checks out.
Not Chuck E. Cheese's.
Yeah, like when they stamp your hand, so they make sure like they stamp your hand, they stamp the adult's hand, so they make sure you're not like stealing a kid. Yeah.
Oh my god, that was funny. The vocals were okay. His vocals were here and there. Like he was singing, but he wasn't like as vocally prowess as we've seen him before. He stated that Chanel inspired him. He didn't say it explicitly, but it is her, allegedly. That Chanel motivated him to show up to Benidorm. The song is cute. The staging is cute. The outfits were there. The vocal just needs a lot of rehearsal right now. This comment from Elvadiar shares my sentiment overall after seeing what happened tonight. This is a very safe choice for a decent result. Because the staging looks modern, contemporary. The song sounds like what's on the charts today, so I don't mind it. It's one of the better songs of the year, honestly, out of this bunch. So there's potential with this package, but it needs some improvement.
I agree with that. I do see the potential. Like my first note was like, "Oh, time for Spain to send a man," and that's like in the first minute. And then I was like, "Oh, the vocals are not perfect," but it was his charisma, I think, that really sells the performance. And I do think what I heard in his vocal that wasn't what it needed to be was nerves, because there were times where his vocal sounded really great. And then there were times where I was like, oh, you are shaky. And is it nerves? Like, is this something that can calm down and can be pleasant on Saturday? So I kind of went up and down through some emotions with him. But overall, like, the whole package still ranked higher for me than a lot of the other stuff. And so I don't know. I'd like to see that he can smooth out some of the rough spots and make Saturday kind of exciting for him.
So is he more of a dancer than like a singer, historically speaking?
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Because he definitely put on a performance, but I was like, ooh. Some of the notes came to me and I was like, I don't think this is going to qualify. And then he qualified. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, it looked good, but sonically it wasn't what we wanted it to be. And I'm like, personally, I'm not even a big fan of the song, really. But it does have some good ideas. And I can see why, someone might pick up the phone and want to call for this. Because, at least it's entertaining when you're watching the whole show. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of in a spot where I'm like, yeah. I do think the stage carried it to a certain extent. And we'll include the choreo on that. Did you guys want to say anything else? Just focusing on our qualifiers or the show tonight?
I can say that today's show was smoother than Tuesdays. The hosts looked more comfortable, especially Paula. Ines can host the show on her own. She could be the Spanish Petra Mede. Literally, she could be the Spanish version of Petra. She's really good. Like Benidorm is her thing. Like just give it to her alone, and she's great. The camera angles for many of the performances were a mess. Like the camera work just Jesus Christ. But overall, it was smoother than Tuesdays. But the camera angles and the camera work needs a lot of fixing for Saturday, hopefully. So let's see
Okay.
how they're gonna pull it off. I
And
liked it.
speaking of Saturday, we have a big question left to answer. Who do we think Spain should send now that we have all of the finalists?
Y'all can go ahead. Y'all can go first.
My heart wants Mello. Like I want Mel.
Mhm.
I don't. That's just personally. I want to just be able to have Spain in my top 10. Like she'd be right at the top of my scoreboard if they went through. So I don't know. That's in my heart what I want.
I mean, we've got people here agreeing with you. Um, Definitely for sure in the comments. Augusto?
You can go ahead. I can go last.
Oh, goodness gracious. Who do I think? What do I think? Who do I think? Who are the like? Because I'm like, do I want to say Mel too? But is that just recency bias? Since we just had the show tonight, who qualified last on Tuesday? I should have come prepared for this question. I really should have.
I
You
mean,
asked it.
I can
Yeah.
remind you on Tuesday we got Uve qualifying. We got Lucas Boone, La Chispa, and Daniela.
Oh, right. Okay. You know what? I would not mind Lucas. I'm not going to go with Mel solely because that's what you already said, Brooke. And I don't want to be like, ooh, recency bias. But I think Lucas. I just find that performance to be so arresting and so interesting. And I found that song to just like be a real moment. And I think it's for his grandmother, right? And I love a song
Mother.
about it. Mother, okay. Well, yeah. So I like a song about a relative, like for a relative to a certain extent as well. Um, I think that's my favorite one. Uh, I'm gonna go with Lucas just because, like, again, I find that and it would be such a different thing for Spain to send. It would be unexpected for Spain to send that, and I think that it would be an interesting choice as well.
Okay, now my turn. I'm a little iffy about everything because I'm not hyped anymore. I don't think I'll be on the Spanish boat this year as I normally am. 2025 is not my year.
Ooh,
Unfortunately. Um,
Spain lost Augusto, guys.
um, I don't know. The crowd wants to go back to 2009 and make a terrible mistake. But if you want another bottom five, enjoy it. Give her the W just because of historical reasons. This is not the year for that woman to go. Mel Ömana, not a bad choice. It gives me it scares me a little because of Eurovision because I don't know how Europe will warm to it, but the staging and execution were great. I know that the jury will give her a lot of love, but the televote though, that's where I'm like, because Spain is one thing, Europe is another. Then Lucas, not a bad option.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a ballot out yet, so it will be nice to have one country stepping up with a nice ballot. Um, the only thing I would change of Lucas's performance was the outfit.
Yeah, well, like that's easy enough to fix.
It's only a very simple, something very simple. Um, Song wise though, out of the 8 that we have left, the two that with the most potential, still to me, even with the things we've seen so far these 2 nights, are Jota Cabello and La Chispa.
Okay.
Jota Cabello is very urban, very in the charts today. The vocal just a bunch of rehearsals that can be worked on. The staging is a really nice package that a Eurovision might work well. Um, and then La Chispa. Thank you, Gotham, for agreeing with me on one. La Chispa has a very solid package deal. The weakest thing right now is the vocal. But again, the vocal just needs rehearsal. She needs more comfort as a leading performer. But what we saw on Tuesday, even with the iffy notes during the very high pitched parts, it's still very decent. It's not terrible. We've seen worse. So um let me switch a comment real quick.
Oh,
I
sorry.
get your sentiment, but here's the difference. La Chispa has a more accessible song than Ea Ea. It's not as niche and as experimental. It's a more commercial take on modern flamenco. This is very Rosalia coded. If you know, you know. So right now, I wish Spain the best of luck on Saturday. I hope we do not have the same mistake of 2009 of giving the win to a song and performer just because of who they are and where they come from.
Yeah.
If it's Jota Cabello, I'll be okay. If it's Mel Ömana, I'll be okay. And if it's Jota Cabello, Mel Ömana, if it's La Chispa, I'll be content. Um, I don't know. They let the best because of how badly executed it was. The best song just got DQ'd because of a terrible execution.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I mean,
Good
that's
luck.
how it goes. That's the fun of Eurovision, isn't it? Having your heart broken when you get to the live performances. But those are just our thoughts. We have a comment section below, so go ahead and leave your comments there. Don't forget to like the stream and follow us here on we're on Alicia's channel today. So Alicia Michelle's channel, the Eurovision Fam YouTube channel as well, and the Eurovision Fam website. We've got articles and all kinds of fun things there. I know the season's really heating up, so there's going to be some exciting stuff next week, I promise. And we'll be back again on Saturday to discuss the results of who Spain is going to be sending. So thank you all so much for joining us this evening, and we will see you again soon. Bye.